record now. So the recording has just started, and I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Reed Knox. I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm a life and health coach as well as a realtor, and Hazel and I have known each other for several years. We were in a coaching school together, and she has a message for the world that I am very eager to continue on as many opportunities as I can to share Hazel with the world, because I think she has tremendous insights that very few people have. And today we're going to talk a little bit about spiritual mastery and depression. And depression is a very common problem. There are 35 million adults just in America that have been diagnosed with some sort of depressive disorder, whether it's anxiety or depression, and that's adults. And in the college universities right now, there's a huge need for mental health professionals to address both anxiety and depression. And the biggest step, if you have a depression problem yourself, is to ask for help. There is help available. There's a huge stigma around depression. I know when I was originally diagnosed as having depression, I had been married for about 5 years and was having some marital difficulties and went to a marriage counselor. And the marriage counselor actually diagnosed me as having depression. She was a psychiatrist as well. And I couldn't believe it. You've got to be kidding me. And at any rate, I was prescribed medications, which the first medication that I was prescribed interfered with my ability to cool my body down. When I was exercising, I would get unbelievably hot and couldn't cool off. And so eventually I switched from that medication to what was then a very new medication called Prozac, and I've been on that since. And I have gone off it a couple of times, and each time I've gone off it, I've had a recurrence of depression. So I've stayed on it as a just fail-safe method. But at some point, I would like to be medication free, and I'm sure there are other people that can relate to what I'm talking about. At any rate, Hazel is originally from England. She currently is in South Africa, which may or may not have something to do with our difficulties coordinating our show today. At any rate, so I'd like to introduce Hazel. And Hazel, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself. You have a show that is on and advertised on Facebook, but it's every Sunday, called Fireside Chat at 12 o'clock.
That's correct, yeah.
And Hazel has a number of different meditations and other writings and stuff available on her website, which is Hazel Moore Spiritual Mastery. Is that correct?
Yes, Hazel Moore Spiritual Mastery. It's my public figure page on Facebook. But just to say hello to everyone, and sorry about the difficulty. I can see that people in the chat are saying there's an echo going on, but I'm sorry, I can't help with that. But yes, I've been an awakened, activated human being, if you like, for many years now, for over 30 years. And I've worked with psychiatrists, from not because I've been depressed, but worked with them, psychiatrists and clinical psychologists, because they say to me what Reed explained to me, that pills, potions, and all manner of drugs, whether street drugs or allopathic drugs, just do not work long term. Yes, they might help people who are depressed to cope, because depression is also a clinical symptom within the brain, and you might need something to balance that out with drugs, but long term, no. I am here with a very, very powerful message. The root cause of all depression and all maladies and addictions on this planet are because people are separated from the light. Now, you can call that light God, you can call it source, the universe, whatever you'd like. but I'm not talking here in a religious sense. So the only way that we can tap into this light is to open our hearts. The only way we can open our hearts is to feel our way through our pain and suffering. Now, we're conditioned to look for some kind of end goal as humans by the media, and we're enslaved literally to consumerism, to keep us addicted, to keep us at a low frequency that we're calling depression here. So how does this come about? Depression is a suppression of our feelings. And over years and years, and we keep on stuffing these feelings down. In our early childhood, we're not encouraged to feel, to express and connect with ourselves and therefore other people. And so we start to go inward, and our energy gets lower and lower, and our consciousness gets more and more suppressed. So we end up in confusion, doubt, lost, and all of those heavy, dense, compressed emotional states. So it's an epidemic. This is an epidemic all across the planet, not just in America. I've never suffered depression myself, but my sister tried to take her own life. She was sent to a mental institution a year ago. My own mother suffered from depression. So I've got quite a good insight as an observer to how this works. Now, feeling your way through your depression. This is huge. This is difficult. And it is a really brave step to really get in touch with the body and the emotions. And this is the way through is the way out. Now, when clients come to me that are depressed, the first thing that I do is look at their energy fields to see where the depression is lodged, where it began, because everybody that is depressed, they have over their crown, over the top of their head, literally a thick, black, dense energy. With some people, it's more dense than others, which tells me the depth to which they've withdrawn really from life. So to get these people to open up, I use physical methods, just simple methods, putting your hand on your heart and starting to feel into that. Because as you feel into it, you come more into your body, because we're so used to wanting to run away and disassociate with our feelings. And this is a big part of the problem, disassociation from our feelings. So how do we do that?
So people may be wondering, Hazel, how you have this ability, and I may want to ask you to share a little bit, because unless people have an experience with other gifted people, they may not have any idea the abilities that you have that most of us don't have, and how those developed.
Okay, well, about 30 years ago, I just wanted to be a better person. That was my question. How can I be a better person? I didn't like the way that I was showing up in the world. And I used to have this feeling, which I think many depressed people can really associate with. I would be in the shower and I would just be standing there, and in my belly, this anxiety and just a horrible, weird feeling, weird energy running through my body. And I used to hold my head and say, I've got to get out of this. But I did not know what I had to get out of. But I knew there was something in me and around me, like I was wired wrong somehow. And a little while after that, I just wanted to be a better person, as I said. I was angry. I was looking at the world, and so much out there wasn't right. So I sat down on my sofa and I wrote a list of what I thought was wrong with me. And that triggered off something in me that opened up my psyche. Now, the psyche is of the soul. It just means your thoughts and emotions on a higher level. You know, the 3D world is, you know, the five senses, taste, touch, smell, and so on. And the world of our thoughts and emotions happens at another dimensional level. It happens in what is called the astral world. And it's in our auric field around us, and it flows through our body. And it is the world of thoughts and emotions, and which we meet often in our dream state in pictures. And, you know, we have conflicts and fights, and often with me, I was running away from something in my dream state. I didn't know what I was running away from. I was running away from my own emotions, which I came to understand later how the dream state works. So from that day that I yearned to be different and wrote my list, the very next day I started seeing what was once upon a time invisible to me. So I started to see colours everywhere, in my sitting room, in people, around people. I started to see dead people and have telepathic conversations with them. But I was never afraid. I just had this knowing, which I've come to understand is direct contact with my source energy, with my God, my spirit. And other beings that are discarnate now started to teach me about human nature. It started to teach me about myself, how that what was in me, suppressed and unconscious within me, I was projecting out in the world and to other people. So this didn't take very long for me to grasp and to understand. And before I knew it, I was working in those days, in the early 80s, in a spiritualist church, and I would take the church service and give messages to people. Well, what a shocking place to be. You know, people in church on a Sunday with their best bib and tucker on, and yet their auras, their auric fields were so dense and dark and sick. Many of them were sick, mentally sick, emotionally sick, because their lives had no vitality. They only felt half alive. They weren't thriving. They were surviving. From there, moving on from that with my abilities, you know, it's been a long, long process of unfolding, and I've reached many, many different levels within myself. And I walk about as what I call a multi-dimensional being. So I'm Hazel now, and I'm talking words from my mouth, obviously, on this show with Reed. But at another level, I am at an astral level, seeing what is going on. Every thought, every emotion that is aimed at me by somebody else comes into my auric field, and I sense it. And I know exactly who is talking about me, whether that's good or bad, makes no difference. Once upon a time it did, but I now know how to deal with that. And then on an even higher level, I am linking in with what I call my cosmic team, the part of me that lives in much higher dimensions, the fifth dimension and beyond. So we are all multi-dimensional beings, and many of us don't know that until we leave the body and leave the planet, and we call that death. And when we leave the planet, we go unconscious. That's all, for a short while in time and space. And then we become conscious again in a much better dimension, environment, where everything is lighter. There's not those dense, compressed energies that we have to work through. So I want to go back to this depression thing, because there is something very, very important that humanity needs to begin to understand. And it's about cosmic battles that go on. These are not make-believe science fiction films. In fact, the films are a very small shadow of the real thing. So we have to go back to the beginning of time as we understand it, to the first earth that was ever created by source and by many, many, many evolved beings. And a cosmic war literally broke out eons upon eons ago between Orion, Andromeda, other galaxies. For myself, I know about the Pleiades. Part of my genetic makeup is Pleiadian. That's how I can unlock lots of latent abilities that were within me, which are in actually all of you. And so these latent memories were unlocked in me, and the ability to connect with myself at these levels, particularly Andromeda. And Andromeda is the heart of our galaxy, 2.5 million light years away, but to me it's as close as my breath. And I fully understand that level of myself and how that communicates with me. But going back to this cosmic battle that went on the first Earth. So we had this cosmic battle going on that all of us on this planet now were involved in. And many are being activated with their memories now. And you'll remember, some of you, about Lemuria, which is a species, a race of beings who very loving and wanted to live in harmony, androgynous beings. There was no sexual agenda attached to the male and female energies within us, that there was no conflict going on there with what we now call, gender. So let's fast forward a bit, and war broke out, and the Lemurians did not want anything to do with the violence and the extreme aggression that was going on. So we kind of, we knew it was going on, and we put ourselves in this little world of our own and didn't partake in the violence. But it came to the Earth, the first Earth, and we could not stand by and watch people being tortured and abused left, right, and center. So we came to the Earth, and we joined with the people of the Earth. So we created a hybrid genetic species. You must remember, this is eons ago. And it got so bad that the evolved Lemurians actually blew up the Earth, literally. So a second Earth, the one we're on now, was created, and a new timeline began. But in that timeline, what is known as the reptilians were already here, and they were into enslavement big time. So they were enslaving through the DNA the humans, the hybrid humans that were upon the planet. And to this day, this is going on, this enslavement, this trapping us within our bodies, keeping us suppressed with drugs, pills, and potions, and feeding off our energies, and knowing that we can't, if we're depressed, get clarity and really get to grips with that fog that's all around us. And it's like we're in slow motion trying to walk through treacle and just trying to get through the day. So this is the type of enslavement that I'm talking about, that many of you who now say that you have depression, you're not a depressed being, you have this malady called depression, which is wired into your DNA. So I'm hoping this makes sense. So if anyone's got any questions thus far, because this is a huge, complex subject that I am trying to uncomplicate and really help those of you that are suffering with this depression to get to grips with the root of it. And the root of it is separation from the light. Now, the light is the creative force of God. And of course, those that want to enslave do not want anyone to know about the creative force of the light, which we have direct contact with. So hence they bring in religion, and we are swamped with what I call church energy, which is another form of enslavement. Now, I'm not knocking that there are some, really good priests and vicars, but the whole church mission energy is linked to enslavement. So any questions so far on that, Reed? So I'm just going to take a breath there and a drink of water and see if we have got any questions.
There's only a few people there are some people who have just joined us. Will in China and Vedran Pavlik. And we still have Willem Daniels. I believe he's still here. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Or if you'd like to jump into an empty seat, we have 2 empty seats.
Yeah,
and we'd love
that'd be great.
Encourage anybody that wants to join the conversation. Hazel is very unique, very gifted, and certainly can help anybody that she can see. She has the ability to read your aura right through the modern technology of Blab.
So there we are. So I've taken you to the root cause that I've been shown used to be in my meditative state, but now it's in my contemplative state as I ask a question. So the answer is there from what I call my cosmic team, my cosmic self, my multi-dimensional selves, all the same thing. We use 1,000 words to say the same thing, and it's confusing to say the least. So coming back to what can people do who are depressed, I would suggest that, yeah.
I had just 5 things that were kind of on a list, starting with diet, sleep, exercise, meditation, and faith. And then some of the questions that I was asked on Facebook earlier to ask you was, how do you overcome being held back from things that you enjoy when you suffer from depression? And then how do you get motivated when you have depression?
Right. Okay. Well, first of all, let's not underestimate the power that depression has over us. So the first thing that you need to really commit to is feeling your way through the depression, through that heavy resistance, because at the end of the day, that's what depression is covering up. Resistance to expressing anger, resistance to speaking your truth. But I know when we're all small, we're very controlled by a lot of parents. Many, 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 many parents on the planet are controlling, and they call that love, and it's not. So it's about feeling through the distortions in your nervous system. So we're talking about the spine, we're talking about the central nervous system, and even in your depressed state, as you're laying in bed underneath the duvet, you are still having thoughts. So you can still think, I'm going to put my hand on my heart. I'm just going to feel that hand on my beautiful heart. And if you can't remember those words, just put them on a post-it, write them on your hand. And you're just going to start feeling yourself, your body, all the way down to your toes as best you can. And make a mental note of the feelings. Even feeling numb is a feeling, remember? And just intend to focus on it and keep coming back to that numbness, feeling it, persevering with your commitment to your beautiful self, to your soul. You are here, every one of us on this planet is here to serve our soul, not anybody else out there. Meditation will help you enormously. Now, that doesn't mean sitting for 20 minutes repeating a word over and over again, because that will drive you nuts and you're just not going to be able to do it. Now, what I did, I started meditating with my eyes open. So I just kind of sat still and I stared into the room with my eyes soft. I just lowered them and made them kind of soft. And every minute I was looking at the little video clock in front of me. So I might just do a minute and then I'd come back and say, right, I'm going to do another minute. And within a week, I was seeing more and more invisible things that were invisible to me. I started to see them, right? Now, you must remember, I didn't have depression. So I'm not taking away that you might find this, take a bit longer than a week, but I can assure you, you are going to have a breakthrough. But you've got to really, really yearn for it and want it. Yearning for something triggers off a vibration within us, and it triggers off that spiritual energy that is in every cell of your body. Each one of us, no matter how defiled we feel, no matter how depressed and sick we are, or how crazy we feel, each one of us has still got that perfect divine intelligence in every cell of our body that guides us. And this is what you're going to begin to get in touch with. When we tingle, that's that divine intelligence telling us, I'm here, I'm oscillating. Can't you feel me in the body? That's what it's telling us. You've hit on that truth, because only God, only spirit is truth. And without truth, nothing else is real. Everything else is distorted. So you're feeling this numbness, all right? And oftentimes you get like weird feelings just below your belly button, like in your guts, just below. There's this weird, I don't know how to describe it, but there's a weird kind of wiring that is just not right. And that is this energy of enslavement that the reptilian species, the reptilian race, programmed a lot of us with. Now, to go into how they do that is another blab. So you're feeling your numbness. You're determined to sit and just look softly around your room and gaze at what's in front of you. And you're going to do that moment by moment. 1 minute, then 2 minutes, then 3 minutes. And you're going to feel your way through the distortions within you. And when you feel them, don't engage with a story from your thoughts. All right? So don't start saying, what's all this about? Oh, I can't stand it, and all of this, that, and the other. That's you engaging and hooking in to that distorted energy again. Just as best you can, let it be there. Now, the next step would be, if I were working with you, it would be to ground you fully. That means to bring you in your body. You cannot ground just by walking barefoot outside on the grass. Just ridiculous. It's just not possible. You have to bring, what we're talking about by being grounded is to feel and bring your soul right down to those knots and kinks, that weird, numb, horrible energy that makes you want to lash out and makes you want to maybe stamp your feet and just get it out. That kind of feeling, okay? You're feeling all of that. And listen to your body. If you feel that you need to get up and stamp it out, then do it, which is what a lot of tantrums are in children. They're just getting this wrongly wired, suppressed energy out of themselves. But what do most parents do? Tell them to sit quiet, go up into their room, or in my day, they bash them about the head, when in fact they still do it. They do it here in Africa, certainly. And so the child is just getting even more compounded within that dense energy. All right. That's where you start. We're grounding you by bringing your soul 1 little inch at a time into your body. And it's important to be relaxed, to allow the body to relax. If anybody wants a muscular relaxation MP3 that I created, then you can go to my Facebook page, Hazel Moore Spiritual Mastery, and I will send it to you as my gift to you. And doing a muscular relaxation exercise, it's only about 8 minutes long, this MP3. If you do that twice a day, that's going to start to repair your nervous system. Okay, it's not a meditation, it's a very physical thing that you sit and do with following my voice. So that's going to help start that process of repairing your nervous system. So where was I, Reed? Bring me back to where I was.
That was the first
I was
step.
talking about grounding, wasn't it?
That was the first step. You were talking about grounding.
So
You're about.
yeah. So I would bring yeah. So I'm looking at you know, the gift of working with somebody like me is I'm looking at you, whether that's on Skype or I'm feeling you if there's only the telephone available, and I can see where you're tense, where there's tension in the brain, around the head, in the auric field, in the jaw, and I will just get you to tense and release that so that your soul can break through this dense physical, emotional energy, okay? And most people, by the time they get to here, they're scrunching up and they don't want to come any further. Some get down to their jaw, and so much unvoiced expression is trapped in the jaw, where we've wanted to say what we couldn't say, you know, because our parents wouldn't allow it, or we'd be punished for speaking our truth and so on. And a lot of it is suppressed in the jaw. So I would get you to just, you know, stretch your mouth and just relax that. Then we'd go down into the neck. A lot of stuff going on in the neck with people. Now, every thought and every emotion that anyone ever has about you or me, oftentimes, if it's manipulative, intimidating, and controlling, comes in through the back of the neck. And the chakra at the back of the neck with most people looks like a ball of wool that a kitten's had. It's all just mangled up. And we try to resist energy coming in through the back of our neck. Usually, it's, again, in early childhood, a controlling parent. And that shuts our throat down and we can't speak. We can't even yell. Coming down, oh, to our beautiful hearts. Our beautiful hearts. We can't even get in touch with that beautiful heart. Coming down into the belly, the human self, which is what I call it, from the solar plexus down, is the human self. Oh my goodness me. And all that stuff going on in what I call the human us. Some people call it the inner wounded child. I don't. It's just our human, what we've been through as a human, how we've tried to cope, how, you know, no wonder so many of us have got digestive problems and all of that. And so I'm following you down, I'm getting you to relax, and you're feeling your soul as it comes into your body, probably for most people for the first time ever. That's another thing I'd like to gift you. It's a video that I did. It's called Soul Merge. And when you follow through the video, it helps you to distinguish the difference between your body and your soul, so that you know the difference and you get to know your soul for the first time. So we're coming down further and further into the base chakra. Most people can't sense what's going on in their feet and so on. So we would do that. That would take about 10 minutes. Seems a lot longer as I'm explaining it here. And then I take you up to God. I want to know your word for God. Whatever that word is, it must resonate in the body. So a lot of people use I am the light, and I get them to speak out loud. Sessions with me it's about speaking it out loud. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear all those suppressed sub-personalities within you. And I want each one of them to have a voice. Nothing is profane, nothing. It's just about getting it out. And then having worked through and found your name for God, which must resonate in your body, otherwise it's not going to be real to you. And then we go up to God, to that place in your auric field, way up here, unity consciousness, and we start to bring it down into the body. This is because only light transforms us. Only light can save our puny selves. And only the Spirit of God is light. And it's literally light energy. And we connect with this in the physical heart And we connect with the earth through the body, and we bring that up into the physical heart. And you know what? This is what I call the Divine Mother, the earth, the Divine Father, God beyond the cosmos, and so on and so forth, meets in your heart, and you are the Holy Child. And this is the Holy Trinity that is in each and every one of us. And when we connect at that level within ourselves, we realize that every other person out there is here to reunite us, each one of us, with God. So at the end, I'm looking, for example, into Reed's eyes, and I see God looking at me through Reed's eyes, and he sees God looking at him through the eyes of who we're calling Hazel. So God meets itself in two what we're calling human beings. But human beings in the flesh are on the cutting edge of creation. We are on the cutting edge. We are the most magnificent creation in our natural state, without all of this enslavement and all of that going on, going back to the Garden of Eden. We're not even back there yet, let alone going forward. So, and God, the human flesh, and what we can do in this earth reality, this level of consciousness that we're calling the earth, the level of consciousness that flows through us as humans and is us as humans, meets itself as God. And it is the most incredible insight. And that is how we become to know that we are all one, walking about in 7 billion bodies. But to get to that stage of understanding that and living from that means we have to go back to the densest vibration within us as humans. Depression, covering up shame, blame, resentment, anger, rage, usually. So we've got to go back and clear that, dissolve rather, that densest vibration within us, because we are only as evolved as the densest vibration within us, and that's where we start. We do not start up here, going up out of our head. That is running away, disassociating ourselves with our beautiful bodies, and it's not going to work. We're just going to live a life of being deluded, basically. So
I could feel my body just going through a real change as you described that whole process. It was
well, there you are.
It was amazing. So I'm sure when other people watch this replay may experience themselves traveling through their body.
Well, opening up is a better way of saying it, because we open up and we expand and we give ourselves more space. We don't actually kind of travel, because a lot of people, words are so important. Because if somebody said to me, we travel, I think, what do I mean traveling? I'm not moving. Do you know what I mean? And so we're talking, travel, it's more, we open up, we expand. There's a spaciousness, a lightness within us. And because you see the divine qualities of God, of which we are divine, the divine qualities, traits are peace, love, joy, courage, bliss. They are not human traits, and humans don't understand this. The human traits are, anger, resentment, and all that carry on, all the negative kind of traits. So when you are feeling joyful, that is your divine self expressing itself in you. And nobody really explains this. And so I take people to that, what I call the new default, peace, love, courage. I get you to be it, not think it. And I'm saying to you, right, I want you to be peace. And that might take half an hour. It might take 2 minutes. So once I really am happy that you know that you are being peace, you're not just thinking it, we will go and we will change frequency and we will go to being love, because it's a different frequency. When I know that you are feeling and being love, we'll go to courage, because courage is of God. It is the strength of the heart to speak our truth initially and to stand up for what is truth. Now, I'm not talking about wishy-washy truth when people say, oh, we've all got a different truth. Well, no, we haven't. We haven't. Where you're at in your life might be your experience for them, but there's only one truth. There's only one truth. That's the true north. That's the spiritual true north. And if you know anything about a compass, you'll begin to understand what I'm talking about. There's only one true north, and that's the word of God. Not the word of humanity, not the word of the church, not the word of any, body else out there. It's the word of God that comes through you as a knowing, comes through you in your body. You feel it, you know it. When you know something, that is direct contact with your source, with your God. Know that for sure. Know that for sure. So that is lovely. So then, with the people that I work with, and then I say to them, this is your new default. Now, obviously, you don't practice it because we've already done it. We know that you're doing it. So I don't say go home and practice. No. Because practice means, when am I ever going to get there? But you've already got there in the session that we've had. So I just say go home and rinse and repeat, just stay aligned with those vibrations. And then you will get to the apex of unity, which is where my hands are now. There's an energy center in the aura. It's a gateway. It's a chakra. Call it what you like. But it's there, and it's joy. And when we hit the joy here, which I will take you to and guide you to, that is where our light, literally like a lighthouse, radiates out from us over the whole world. And that is our gift to humanity. And we take that with us wherever we go, when we're on the tube, when we're in the supermarket, because we've so rinsed and repeated our vibrations of peace, love, joy, and courage that it's second nature to us. And we feel complete because we are at home in our own skin, in our own bodies. And we are returning to the God selves, and I say God with a little g, that is our natural state. But understand that if any of you, understand about, what we're doing now on the planet with ascension and conscious evolution, I call it, you must remember that we haven't even got back to where we started with yet, because most people, a lot of people became subhuman. So we're only just getting people out of that dense pit with the help of, all the angels that God can send. We're only just getting them out of that pit. So we're getting back to the beginning, which was the Garden of Eden. So once we've got back to that natural state of peace, love, joy, courage, then we can progress. So that's where we're at.
So much to think about.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it is really complex. It is, very complex. That's beautiful to behold. That we literally are on our way back home, all of us, back home to our bodies, to living in that natural state of peace, love, joy, and courage. That's where we're all headed. So I urge you, if you are depressed, or you have symptoms of sadness, it's like, I hurt. I was born in 1952, and I was born sad. I know that. I was born filled with grief for the state of the planet. And, I'd like to go into how we reincarnate and all of that, but that will be another Blab, I think, read.
Okay.
But I was born sad, not for myself, but I include myself. but for all of humanity. And that caused me over decades to show symptoms of fibromyalgia. Well, that's what the doctor called it. I called it pain. And this particular time, when it reached the crescendo within me, I actually almost passed out. And I thought, whoa, what is going on here with my consciousness? And when I got home, I laid on the floor of my sitting room, and I have never felt such excruciating pain. And when I asked the question of myself, what is this about? I was shown my story, my history, which I've repeated to you earlier about Lemuria and Andromeda and the Galactic Wars. But what I didn't go down the allopathic route of doctors and all of that stuff. Yeah, I took painkillers initially, and I just brought myself into my body with my feelings. I put my hand on my heart and I said, what is it, Hazel? What are you feeling? And I just said to myself, I hurt. I hurt. I didn't say, I've got a hurt in my heart, or I've got a hurt in my leg, or my bones are aching. I just said, I hurt. I am sad. And the whole lot came tumbling out. You know, crying, you know, like snot out your nose kind of crying, and on your knees and all of that. And that was the beginning of me really getting to grips with the violence, the destruction, all of that we are all a part of, not just from 2016 and this lifetime, but going back to the beginning of time. We are all here to dissolve the violence, the terror, the pain, the horrendous acts we've all been a part of, and to bring ourselves back to love by feeling the depth of it, owning it, loving it, and getting back with God. But getting back with God doesn't mean we're goody two-shoes. It still means we like a glass of wine. You know, I like a whiskey. Doesn't mean giving up all that stuff, because we are here to enjoy the fullness of the earth without judgment. Without judgment of anyone or anything. Judgment is resistance. Resistance causes pain in the body. So, Reed, how are you feeling now? Are you feeling depressed?
No,
Can you give up some of your Prozac?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Good.
This was fascinating. So there's
yes, all right.
There's the genetic part of this. There's the biological part of this. The environmental part of this. There's a psychological part of this, and there's new knowledge every day.
Well, it's
about
new,
each
but
of
this
these.
is in everyone. Yeah, it's got here like somebody said, what if you feel that you hate your profession, but you are something else? I feel that most of my life. Well, then,
oh, you know what?
I don't know your names.
I hadn't even seen the chat. I'm so sorry. I should have been looking at the chat.
Yeah. So I'm looking at a chat called Vendanda, I think. There's no first name. So it says, what if you feel that you hate your profession? Well, that is self-abuse. If you've got a job that you hate and you're going there every day, you're abusing your beautiful self. Now, I know that some people are going to say to me, oh, but we need the money and, you know, I can't survive without. I totally understand that. So start to follow the processes, or some of them that I've mentioned here. Get in touch with your spirit and make choices. I made choices many, many years ago. You see, at this level, we're not creating anything. This is another thing, you know, about parallel timelines and so on. we're not actually creating anything at this 3D density. We make choices because everything already exists in the spacious present. So it's about making choices and adapting your lifestyle for a little while until you come home to yourself, where, you know, part of being at home with yourself is abundance. And that means abundant, beautiful, spacious feelings, means money, it means all of those things. So, yeah, get in touch. What is it, then, Danda, that you feel? You say you feel that you're something else. Give voice to those feelings. Really get in touch with those feelings and find out what that something else is. Put words to it. Speak it out loud. And then you will start that journey to have a profession you love. Hate has no place in your life. It's a killer. It's a killer. So somebody else here says, William Daniel says, what's my religion? Well, I'm not religious at all. I did go down the religious route, and it was the most horrendous time of my life when I used to go to church and serve churches. I could not believe, it took me 2 years to get over how malicious the people were, how they gossiped and so on. I gave up religion for spirituality, for the truth. So, William Daniel says, oh, could it be that your boss is a reptilian enslaver? Good grief, no. I tell you this, though, William Daniels, my second husband was a reptilian, and I saw that in him, in his soul. His soul used to turn into, and I used to see it as a reptile, but it was part of my understanding, because I can't sit here and repeat all of this without having experienced it to the nth degree. So I can tell you that no, my boss is not a reptilian enslaver. I am a sovereign being. I don't have a boss outside of me. So we could go into that a little bit more about the reptilian enslavers, but it's not for today. So then it says, Vedanta says, no, it isn't. No, it isn't like that. I think you mean it isn't like that. I don't know if you're still here with us. Let's go down a little bit, Reed. I've got some. All right. No, it isn't a lie. I wanted to express myself by doing something else. In my soul, I am an artist. Yeah. I feel that my inner journey is suppressed by life circumstances. I really get that, Vedanta. If you are an artist, you're right brained. Okay. But as you say, circumstances have entrapped you. But it's never too late to start making those little changes.
So
Right.
that pretty much
tuning into you. You actually also then, Vedanta, you are very psychic yourself. You couldn't not be if your soul is an artist. You are also mediumistic. I can see around you. You've got a beautiful, beautiful, vibrant blue in your auric field, which is connection. You understand how to connect. But now, the right side of your body, which expresses your male energy, is dense and dark. It's quite black. Now, that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that your masculine energy, which has got nothing to do with gender or sexuality, remember. Your masculine energy is the positive part of the creative force. The feminine side, which is your artistic side, is the feminine side. The male side gives and the feminine side receives. And your masculine side is blocked because of you having this career that you hate. And the masculine side is the part of you that goes out and puts on that paintboard or however you express your art, does it, and then goes out and gathers an income from it. Because we're still in the transition, so we're still going to need money. But you can do your artwork and become an entrepreneur if you decide to have faith in your soul as an artist and start that going. Still keep your job, but start really working with your soul energies. I feel that my inner energy is suppressed. Well, when you feel it, that's true. Your energies are suppressed. Of course they are. So that's true. I'm smiling because, you know, when you come through the other side of all of this, you can really see the humour in what we've done, and you can see the tragedy, you know. So I don't know what's happened here. Reed's disappeared. Thank you, Reed and Hazel Moore, for now. Have a great day. Yeah, okay. So, if there's no more questions, I think we can wrap this up, Reed. You've abandoned me. Where are you?
I'm back.
Oh, Reed went off air.
Can you hear me? I'm back.
Yes, well, you abandoned me, you naughty boy.
I pushed a button. I pushed a button, and I don't know whether it says it's still recording. So hopefully this is still the same. It is the same.
Yes, I don't think the recording stopped. So I'm actually the hour's up now. So shall we just bring it to a close and do another one very, very soon? What do you think?
I think that'd be a good idea. I think most of the people that were watching have left, but I think that the recording of this is going to be something that will be so helpful to so many people. And thank you so much for sharing. And the depth of what you shared, it was very, very useful and good. Wonderful message.
Yeah.
So
my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Are we all fair now?
Thank you so much for joining us, and the recording is going to end now. Thank you.